What's up, y'all? Y'all are listening to Living Corporate's flagship podcast. If you didn't know, Living Corporate helps organizations build employee engagement and market trust through data analytics and data transformation, our e-learning platform, and brand marketing storytelling. We're so excited for you to be here today. The conversation you're about to hear is going to connect the dots between employee experience and go-to-market effectiveness. If you're not ready, get ready. Here we go. Natalie, Dusey, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to have you here on Living Corporate. Just talking about you, talking about your journey. I think just to get started, just for those who don't know you, background, can you tell us a little bit about your early career and the steps that led you to take the senior executive position at Meet the People?
Yes. So hopefully everyone who's listening to this can actually hear my accent. I'm actually British. I live in London. And so I've started my career in the UK in London. And, I like everyone else, I started when I was very young in a new company, actually as an administrator. Whilst I was studying. And then I studied company law, corporate governance to become a company secretary by profession. And in working through some companies on the stock exchange and also on the different exchanges in the world, I fast forwarded into becoming, a junior role into that company secretarial world or corporate governance, as people call it. I then ended up being very lucky, but also with the skills I have, I started working for a film company, a film finance company, and a film production company in Soho, which was very exciting. I went from being, sort of a vice president of a company secretarial role into becoming the person in charge of the company secretarial department or the corporate governance, department. And then I fast forwarded again into maybe about 2013. I started working for a French company who was recruiting for my skills, including the chief of staff role in Paris, but were very happy for me to work in the UK. And this is a company called Artifact. And the reason why I come to that is because the people that I'm working with at the moment, that's where we first met. So the founders of Meet the People, i.e. Tim Ringel and Thomas Ambruster, we first met at this company. I had an interview, and one of my last interviews, as soon as I got there, the alarm went in that company. And it's next to Buckingham Palace, which is where the Queen and the King lives, but on 21 floors. And the alarm went, and I'm in my 6-inch heels, and I'm going to have to interview going down this 21 floor building with my two people who were interviewing me, who fast forward now after nearly 13 years are my business partners in Meet the People.
That's incredible. And for those who don't know, Meet the People is an international marketing consultancy and marketing agency. You serve as the chief of staff. Talk to me about.
I do.
Talk to me more about what is a chief of staff role really consist of for an organization like Meet the People?
Okay, so I always say to people, the role itself, it's one of the best ones that you can get because it's a variety role. You wake up one day and you don't know what you're going to do. So you can be working on a project to do with, example, at the moment I'm working on a project because we just bought or we just acquired a couple of agencies in Missouri, and there's four agencies that we're trying to integrate into the Meet the People group. So you wake up one day and what you have to do is start looking at the different projects of integrating such amazing agencies into the other agencies that you have, being HR platforms or benefits platforms or just people in initiatives and engagement initiatives, talking to the agency leaders and having offsite to talk about operational stuff, but also strategy and how you move forward. And also sometimes I do have one-on-one with all the other different employees that we have, just to check and see how they're doing, but also what we can do to improve certain things in the group or in the agency that they're in. So it can be, sitting in one board meeting into having a conversation with anyone of the different levels of our people, having a conversation with yourself, example, which is very interesting as well. Then also having a conversation with a third party, or, recruiting for a role. So it's very, very varied in that respect.
It seems as if, when I think about a chief of staff role, especially for an organization as far reaching, right, as Meet the People, that there's a lot of spinning plates. You're having to kind of connect the dots strategically, and then also like just relationship wise. Can you talk a little bit about like the role that relationship management plays in your chief of staff role to Meet the People?
I think the people, so I always say there is a people culture part of this role, and that's actually one of the bigger parts of the spinning the plate, because you have to. So I would hope to think that out of the 750 or nearly 800 plus employees that we have, I'm one of the people that people recognize the most because of the people aspect of my job, being the senior managers, i.e. the agency CEOs and agency leaders, to the management team of the agencies, to also the different people that I have I project manage, but also have conversations with. So I think there is a very people part to this. And it's the way you talk to people, is the way you actually treat people as well. My policy is you treat everyone the same. You treat, it's a shame for me to put it this way, but you treat the person who's come to clean the office the same as, the CEO, and how you relate to them, because you never know where the world takes you. Sure. And that for that reason, that people side really matters. And so you want people to be able to come to you and have a conversation, to come to you to be able to sort of help you put together engagements and initiatives that benefit all your peers, and not just one set of people in the company or the group. And you then also want to talk to the right third parties, like yourself and all the different third parties that we deal with as consultants who help us, like my PR consultancy person who arranged this, or someone else who is looking after some of the platforms that we use. You have to have a good relationship with people, and it's something that you would want to do it, rather than feel that it's an obligation and why am I doing this type of thing.
As I think about marketing and like just storytelling today, obviously, like there's shifts and there's changes. Like as you think about what it means to tell gripping stories, and stories that are really going to stick with folks, and that are going to make an impact over time, what do you think are some of the leading elements to telling and marketing effectively now, right? Because I ask that because I think about how just social media continues to shift. Like long form used to be really exciting, and then now people are really pushing shorts, and there's it seems like the algorithms are really they're really going down for more like what's the word, when not low quality, but more like approachable content, right? Like the hypergraphics and things are not necessarily as in anymore as well. Now it's like scaled down, toned down seems to be more exciting.
Yeah.
So like I'd love to hear your perspective on just where do you see effective marketing going in this age?
Okay. So I mean, again, if I bring it to Meet the People and why we founded Meet the People, it was to be a little bit different from the usual holding companies or group companies you have when you think about marketing companies. And the question that everyone would always ask is, what is the difference between you and everyone else, and what do you bring to the new marketing world, and how does that new marketing world work for everyone. Look, for me, it's all about the idea of the core bit is people and how you drive the people. So the people being your client and your stakeholders, and the people, the experts that you have in your team. So you could actually have all the different services that you're offering to your client. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the right people who will be doing that with your clients, even if it's low or if it's high marketing, then you're not going to benefit out of it. So again, when you look at Meet the People, we have an agency that's very, very creative based, old school creative. We also have the new school digital marketing performance agencies. And then you have the ones who, would be doing websites, and you have the merchandising. The question is always going to be, what is new, what is next, and how best in the people that you have that will be able to make this happen for your clients, for them to keep coming back to you. And also in this current environment at a certain price, right? Because price matters. So quality, quantity, and then you go from there. But it will always come down to the people you have and the type of marketing agency that you want or you actually have, and then you go from there. But the people are always your ticket and your cash.
Again, I'm thinking about just like the complex nature of your role, the fact that you're having to sit across and connect with a lot of different people and function simultaneously. Obviously, you've had to develop a leadership style. How would you describe your leadership style, and what would you say influenced it?
So I think I have a very eclectic leadership style. So it's always different. Okay. And, the reason why it's always different is I have had some really good leadership when I was younger, with the people that I worked with. And there are a few managers that I had who, had a style that sometimes doesn't work for someone like me or different people. And then you have the ones who let you be. And then they understand the way that they need to react with you. So for me, the way I manage people, or I manage my project or sponsor my projects and people that I have, is look at how best you can make them work for you, and do it in the best way possible, rather than actually tell them what you want and then you're never going to get the results out of it. So the eclectic part is, I could be managing someone who every day I talk to and try and structure them, because that's the type of person that they are. And then there is the other person that I might talk to every day, but I don't structure them, because I know by the end of the week they will come up with the goods, and it's really good. So it's just making sure that you give people the opportunity to produce or to work in the best way ever for themselves and you.
So you're adaptive, right? So I mean, like, it's not just like kind of square circle round square circle, square hole, round peg. It's you're trying to make sure that you're meeting people where they're at. I'm curious, like, when you think about Meet the People as an organization, especially today, right? Like, again, like international marketing, I think at least for Living Corporate, so often we're having fairly US centric discussions, but at the same time, like, conversations we're having with our clients, we have global and international clients, and we have even some of our clients that have a large base in the US also have they have sites across the globe. And so I do believe there's an ongoing need for more global discussion and global lens application. When you think about Meet the People and the future of y'all's organization and kind of like your priorities, for the next like 12 to 18 months, like, what would you say gets you the most excited?
I think it's exciting now, but even having the same that we have, but in a bigger portion. So, more agencies, more people. And when I say more people, all type of stakeholders, clients, our people, the employees, everyone that we deal with. But again, the whole Meet the People thing is to make sure that we do not actually take advantage, and we're transparent, and we make sure that what you get is the Meet the People brand, i.e. you come in and you're happy, and the employees are happy, and everyone else is, to that extent. So for me, in a year and a half and 2 years and 3 years, the whole point of this is to make sure that we pull all the negativities that sometimes companies would have, or bigger agency would have, can be reduced using Meet the People, using other agencies, and having a different agency world or a different advertising marketing world out there. That would be, for me, what Meet the People would look like, and should look like for everyone else and at the industry itself.
For yourself, right? Like you talked about your own journey in getting here, and like the people that you work with now, the old relationships you have. Just personally for Natalie, like what are you most excited about, and like what's next for you, and what are you really striving for over the next, let's say, like handful of years?
So there is, there's always the professional side, and then there is the personal side, right? And the professional side of Natalie is always, look, a couple of my passions that I would love to at some point bring forth and make it work is the diversity part, i.e. the inclusion part of including all different people into the advertising industry. I know I'm very lucky in where I stand when, I look at where I am with Meet the People being a group company and the position that I hold. Not a lot of people can say that and I'm very, direct in this conversations as a Black woman. It's not very easy for us to have a woman, different, and I don't always want it to be like that, but there is a combination that I want everyone to be able to be included. And when you work hard, you should be seen, and you should be there. So if you work hard, you should be part of the inclusion. So my future goal, as part of Meet the People, is for us to be able to showcase that the people matters, and there is inclusion in life in all type of industries, in all type of companies, and also to be able to mentor the next generations to understand that everything can be available to you when you work hard and you do a certain things. Because without that, I don't think I would be where I am now. And I do want other people who are not maybe as privileged as maybe going to certain schools or going to living in certain areas of the world to have that.
Earlier, we were talking about where you're from. You're from across the pond.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm curious, like as a Black woman, like navigating these spaces, what are some misconceptions you believe there may be about Blackness and marketing, or rather navigating the marketing space as a Black executive? Like, have there ever been moments where you realize, hey, I'm actually different, or hey, I realized that like there aren't a lot of people that look like me in these spaces, and if so, like how have you navigated that?
So my main part is always going to be how do you use it positively or negatively, right? And there is always going to be that conversation. I try my best to use it as positive as I can. So when I see that, okay, I'm the only one in this space, example, that can be doing this, then how do you use it in a positive way? And a good example is me coming, and having this conversation with you, because I want people to understand that we do exist. And I want other people to want to have this role and have, that opportunity, and bring that opportunity to everyone else. It doesn't even have to be color per se, but different, diversity bits, be if you were, example, disabled, or if you, whatever it is, creed, color, all of that. I want that person to be feeling that way. Yes, it does, it does impact, and you do sometimes feel that way. But it's up to you the way that you would actually bring it out to other people, and that is how that would affect your trajectory, or the way that you move your life. I choose to make it a bit more positive, and I choose to want to showcase that to help people understand, you know what? Yes, so maybe I'm different. Maybe the reason why that I'm where I am is also because sometimes I'm different.
When you
Advantages.
so when you talk about your differences and like your own lived experience, how does that help inform some of like your decision making or points of input to the marketing strategy at We the People?
I mean, I think yeah, I think sometimes it's that conversation. If you have a client who wants to do something, and depending on who you have in the team, and then you do have your strategy, your ideas, and your creativity, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes you need more people. So the question is always going to be, who are we recruiting for a starting point to be able to get the right people in the right positions to have the inclusion or the diversity that allows us to have um, certain strategy for clients, which will make it work. And again, that's where it starts from the beginning. It starts from how you recruit. It starts from how you train people, and it starts from conversations that sometimes is difficult to have, but you do have them. Yeah, when people say to you, "What do you mean diversity?" or "What do you mean inclusion?" and you don't actually know, and you can't really have that conversation with other people, that's a no-no, right?
Yeah.
And then you can't also put someone in charge just because you want to tick the boxes. Because if you do that and you meet a client, you have a client and they can't do the job, then what do you do? So there has to be a balancing system with that.
So it's interesting because like we don't interview a lot of black European, like black European, black British folks on Living Corporate.
Yes.
Not as much certainly as I'd like to, at least. What would you say are like some of the biggest misconceptions that maybe like black and brown Americans have about black and brown lived experience across the pond? Right. I think sometimes like there's all types of assumptions, right? But like I think the reality is that like historically marginalized people are historically marginalized wherever they like across the world. It's not an exclusively American experience.
Exactly.
What would you say are some maybe some of the misconceptions that Americans have about the black experience in Europe at work?
So, I mean, look, there are going to be, we all experience the same things in different ways, or in every part of the world that you go into. Sometimes it's more somewhere than it is in different places. I genuinely living in London, which similar to, New York, but the difference for me when I look at living in London is London has this thing that whatever, however, whichever, you are accepted. And that's very, very different in a lot of parts of cities in the world. So I think, I thank my lucky stars that I've been in London and I've grown up in London, and, and I've worked in London, because with that experience, when I go to other places and I look around, I'm always like, I want to go back to London because of the acceptable behavior that we seem to have with everything that comes with different people and, different cultures. And, it's great. There are other places in the world, and it's actually not ever always about Europe. But my root is Ghana, which is in West Africa. And so I do go to Ghana and West Africa sometimes. And you will not, they do have the same conversations, and you will not, even understand when tribally they are racist against each other because of tribe or because of something else, or they do have a different misconception of that. So yeah, I think when you are in US, sometimes what you don't realize is what is happening to you is happening to other people everywhere else. The question is, are people more accepting? Are people more, able to look outside the little box that they're in and then you have a much better experience as a human being, or at work, or at, at whatever you're doing. And that's the main bit that for me, I sometimes feel London has given me that bigger experience, and, giving me also a little bit wider range of things.
Advice for those who are on the margins, looking to get into like the marketing advertising industry now. I ask that because I think it's like radically different, especially with all this generative AI. It seems as if there's this goal really to make like human beings obsolete in the marketing space, in the creative, at least especially in the creative copy design element of it. So what advice would you give to younger professionals, aspiring professionals, people looking for a career change, especially those who are on the margins trying to break into this space?
So we recruit interns, and I like having interns because sometimes what an intern comes in to want to do, and when they leave, what they're thinking is very different. They might come in and they might have a certain thing in marketing that they want to do until they understand the wide range of things available for them to do. So in that respect, I always think, given that opportunity, if you were apply for different, roles, especially when you're starting off, because you will be surprised what you would end up really liking and what the opportunities are for you to take from that, different role. Now, if you're also already, in that advertising space and you're wanting to move, and again, I always say, get open-minded into, sometimes you might be able to do 80% of a role, that 70% of a role, and learn, because we all learn every day. There is a saying, if you don't learn every day, then you're sort of, not in the right space. You have to learn every day. And AI is it's the new social media, right? It's the new thing coming in. Yes, everyone thinks it's going to make a lot of people redundant, but didn't everyone think the same thing about internet and computers? And look at where we are now. So it's what you make of it, and how you what you want, and how you actually start strategizing to get to a certain place. If your role is being made redundant, I bet AI is creating other opportunities. Look at that.
Natalie, this has been a great conversation. I appreciate you. I'm excited about the work that you're doing at Meet the People, and I'm excited about.
Thank you.
It's exciting to see people in spaces, especially spaces that are responsible for shaping the stories that impact the world. Where can people learn more about you, your organization, and the things that y'all do?
So I as like everyone else, I'm on Instagram, and actually I've tricked everyone a little bit. It's Dusey Natalie. So instead of Natalie Dusey, I've sort of changed it around. So surname first, and then first name. I'm on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, I actually have my full name, so Natalie Alberta Dusey. Meet the People, Meet the People as well. We have a website, and I'm on the Meet the People website. And I do also follow other people. I have a feeling I'll be following you more and more as we're doing this. And then go from there. But one thing I will say to everyone is, well, look, I was never someone who studied to be part of the marketing and advertising industry, and look at where I am now. So opportunities do open up in this industry, and take your opportunities when it's given to you, and do what you need to do, sometimes working very hard to get into the advertising and marketing space, because there are so many things that you could be doing in here, but sometimes people just focus on one thing. But I'm always also very happy if you send me a note via the website. You can send me an email, or on LinkedIn. If I'm able to help with anything, I'm always happy to help.
Natalie, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna make sure we put all those links in the show notes so people can get to know you. We'll make sure we put them on their newsletter, all those different places. I can't wait to have you back. Shout out to all of your work, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Let me ask you a question, because I feel like I haven't been able to ask you a question.
What's up?
For someone like yourself,
Yeah.
what advice would you also give to people who want to be doing what you are doing? Because you are quite unique in what you're doing. And again, that needs to be acknowledged. So I don't know if your guests ever are able to ask you that question, but I would love to know. So your listeners who want to be in your position would also be able to know exactly how to, strive to have your position.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things. First of all, thank you for the question. I appreciate it. And you're right. A lot of guests don't really ask that. And I'll be talking. And then I'm really like pushing the interview. So you're absolutely right. So Living Corporate is unique, right? Because Living Corporate, yes, we have a marketing and brand storytelling function, but we're really an experiences management company. So we do data analytics and we do e-learning as well. So we work really across the board in a variety of different spaces in the experiences management industry, in the space. So for people who are trying to do what I'm doing, be it like some type of organization transformation or change management or communications, my recommendation would be to really get in the space and learn, right? So having a change management background, getting some change management and human resources experience, it's important. Practicing and learning about just podcasting and storytelling and digital marketing, that's important. And then I would say, like learning and understanding tech trends. If you're really passionate about employee experience and learning, then getting some experience in those spaces, right? So if that's in like the learning and development space, as like maybe like an L&D manager or HR business partner, I think what's curious about, I think what makes me unique, Natalie, is that like Living Corporate is a combination of all of my unique experiences. So like I started off as an HR manager, then I became a consultant, then I became a go-to-market executive, then I became a business strategist, and so like all in industry, like I made a bunch of different career transitions. Yeah. And so like Living Corporate is this amalgamation of all of my different experiences and skill sets. And so I think beyond trying to maybe like necessarily be a duplicate of me, I would say it's important for people to like be thoughtful about what are all their skill sets, like what are all the things they're passionate about, and then how can they then bring those things together in a consolidated way. Because e-learning, data analytics, and brand storytelling are kind of three different things. They're very different things. However, they fit together under the umbrella of experience management. And so being clear about, hey, what are the things that I'm really passionate about? What are the things I'm good at? And how can I tie it all together? And how can I offer that? And what is the value proposition of those things? That's important. And that just takes a lot of reflection, and it takes time. Yeah.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you,
Natalie. You very much.
I love that. We've never ended the pod. Like we've never ended a pod with a question back on me. So, okay. We will talk soon, Natalie. Everybody, links in the show notes. Meet the people. Peace, y'all.
Yes. Meet the people. And thank you very much, Zach. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Really appreciate it. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Living Corporate is a podcast by Living Corporate LLC. Our logo was designed by David Dawkins. Our theme music was produced by Ken Brown. Additional music production by Antoine Franklin from Musical Elevation. Post-production is handled by Jeremy Jackson. Got a topic suggestion? Email us at livingcorporatepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us online on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and living-corporate.com. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned.